There's a couple of good reasons why I'm selling the Evo, but none of them make my heart very happy. The first reason why I'm selling the Evo is because I've been with this chassis, the CT9A chassis and the Evo X, for probably the good part of 10 years now. I've done basically everything I've wanted to do to them. I had an Evo 8, I slammed it. I had an Evo 9, I turned it into a rally car. I had this one, which I wanted to do a balls to the wall build on horsepower. We achieved that. Built motor, built head, 6266, triple plated clutch, E85, basically everything you could do to reliably make over 700 horsepower. Now that checked my boxes on everything that I wanted to do with Evos, and the fact that I've been in this chassis for now 10 years, I know them very, very well. I know them inside and out. That's great, but I think it's time to move on to a new chassis. I want to try something new. Now, this isn't saying I've just owned 1 or 2 Evos over the last 10 years. I've probably owned 6 or 7 over the last 10 years. I flipped a couple, kept a couple stock. The main ones I kept for a longer period of time were the first one that I slammed, the rally car one or rally look one, and then this high horsepower one. Now, I love these cars, don't get me wrong. I love Evos. They're so much fun. They're great cars because you have 4 doors, can make a ton of power. They're very reliable. I've had very few issues over 10 years of owning them, but I think it's time to try something new. I'm interested in other chassis. I'm a car guy. No matter how long I live, there will always be more cars that I want to buy and try. So now that I've kind of done everything on my list with this car, I think it's time to move on to something new. The next reason why I'm selling this car is because of the liquidity. Now, I paid cash for this car, so I don't have any loans. If I sold this car, or when I sell this car, it's gonna be a nice chunk of change going back into my account. I plan on buying a house in about a year when the rates come down. Hopefully they come down in a year, and I want to be prepared for that. And that would require liquidating an asset when I have multiple cars now. The next reason why I'm selling the Evo is because I know it's going to a good home. I have a buddy who's coming out from Florida who loves the car, knows every single thing about it, and he plans on not only keeping it, but he wants to do more to it, which makes me very happy. I know it's not just gonna sit in a garage somewhere, collect dust, and never get driven. It's really going to get driven, enjoyed, and loved, man. Now, let me tell you guys a little story. I was into cars since I was probably 5 or 6 years old. Father was into cars, friends were into cars. I've just always been around it. Now, probably around 13 or 14, I start to find Evos. I start to research them, see what their capability is, and see what people are doing with them, and I was fascinated with them from then on. It also didn't help that my friends at the time were into Evos, so we all kind of created this camaraderie over Evos, and we all wanted them one day. Now, when I got my license, I ended up getting a different car. Got that car, traded for another car, continued flipping cars until I was able to afford an Evo. Now, when I got my first Evo, I still remember the day I picked it up. I remember driving out, it was in Chino Hills, picking it up from this guy who was very sweet, looked around the car, was so fascinated with it, handed him the cash, took the title, drove the car home. I remember listening to Gaultier on the radio when he was still big, even though he was a one-hit wonder, and it was such a happy moment and such a happy day. That specific car means so much to me. I hope it's still being loved to this day because I sold it many years ago. But I'm just trying to say that the Evo, the CT9A chassis, was my dream car. I wanted that car for so many years, and it was amazing. It was an amazing feeling to be able to accomplish that. Now, 10 years later, I've owned so many of them. I've done, like I said, everything I've wanted to do to them. I've tried lots of different things with them. And these cars are very versatile. They handled all of them well. And now 10 years later, I've learned a lot more about cars. And even though I respect this chassis, there's a lot of other cars I want to own. Now, the next car I got was my next dream car. It was a car that over years I had drooled over and wanted and done as much research as I possibly can about. And I'm so glad that I was able to get it. Drove down to San Diego, was a fun drive on the way back. I remember just playing with all the modes and settings, and it was just an awesome experience being able to pick up this car. Buying your next dream car or your level up car makes the hit of selling your previous dream car much, much easier. Now, me selling this car is definitely not me leaving the car community. I'm still obsessed with cars. I'm still going to continue modding, buying, selling, flipping, doing everything I can, and spending as much time as I possibly can around cars. The reason why I got this next platform is because it's so moddable. There's so much fun stuff you can do with it. It makes a ton of power. So this car makes 750. The next car I'm hoping to make about 600. Already looking up what parts I need to do with it, already starting to order parts to get everything in on time. Gonna start making videos to kind of show the progression of it, but this definitely isn't the end of cars for me. This is just a new chapter and just a new chassis to play around with, which is why I'm so excited about it. Now, all of this being said, makes sense to my brain. I understand liquidity. I'll be able to put a bigger down payment when I get a house. I have a new chassis that I'm gonna play around with. It all makes sense, but the heart still hurts. Like, I've had these cars for so many years, it's gonna be very hard to just change chassis and try something new without thinking about this car. I really don't think that's gonna be the end of evos for me. I imagine a good deal will pop up at some point when I buy a house, and I'll end up wanting to buy that Evo as well. And that car will become a fun throwback to everything that I've done to all of the Evos I've had over the years. And this is just a note for those that have considered getting an Evo. I would highly, highly recommend it. I've been tracking trends over many, many years owning these cars. The prices of them have just continued to increase between inflation and the rarity of them. Evos have stopped production. That's one factor that made the prices go up. And the fact that the stock of clean ones have continued to dwindle. In the beginning, a lot of kids who were 16, 17, 18 owned them, wrapped them around trees, totaled them out, and they ended up getting parted out. So the stock of ones that are, all VIN tags matching, very clean, no rust, no stupid mods on them, and well taken care of with all the maintenance, that stock has gone down. So finding a clean one, you're going to end up paying a little bit more money, but they're awesome cars. They're super versatile. You can take them everywhere. They get okay gas mileage. It's fun that you can have them on ethanol and on pump gas. They have 4 doors. I've put 5 people in this car and done a pull and scared every single person in the car. They're just fun cars. The CT9A chassis is just a great chassis to work on. They're also very easy cars to work on. When I got the car, I got really interested in figuring out what I can do, what I can mod, what maintenance I can do, and I learned a lot on this chassis just about wrenching on a car. They're easy cars to work on. There's a ton of videos out there of how to do things. You can do a lot of this stuff by yourself at home. And because these cars have gone a little bit older, they're about 15 to 20 years old, insurance companies don't see them as much of a risk. So the insurance prices you're going to pay for them now is less than you would have back then. I remember I was quoted when I first got an Evo something like $800 a month, which is just outrageous for these cars. And the insurance company basically chalked it up to, you're young, even though you have no tickets and no accidents, it's a performance car, versus now friends that have the car, have bought the car around the same age that I did, they're paying like $200 a month. So shop around when it comes to insurance as well. But all in all, I would definitely recommend this chassis. It's hard to find another chassis that can do everything. And for me, this car has done everything. So those are all of the reasons I'm regretfully selling my Evo, but I still highly recommend people who are considering it to go out and get an Evo. They are awesome cars. They've been going up in value. If you find a clean one, it's going to hold its value pretty darn well. They're easy to work on. Maintenance isn't super expensive. They're just all around great cars. Also, a little teaser about the next car. It's going to be very fast and it's going to be German, and I'm very excited to talk about that in the next video and everything that I have planned for it, because it's a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about this car, go ahead and drop it in the comments below. I respond to absolutely everything, and I'll see you guys in the next one.